Good morning. This is George Itella, and welcome to the Knowledge Management System webinar. We will begin the demonstration here shortly. Please be advised that all participants are muted. However, we do encourage participation through the system's chat feature. Again, we'll begin here shortly. Good morning, all. My name is George Tella. I'm a managing director with Integrated Solutions Consulting, and welcome to the Knowledge Management System webinar today. Again, please be advised that all participants have been muted. However, we encourage participation via the chat feature. It is our intention to have an open forum for discussion at the end. And again, we'll take questions through the chat feature. So the knowledge management system, what is it? The Odysseus, which is the environment in which the Integrated Solutions Consulting Knowledge Management System resides, gives users an online tool that is really dedicated to the development and maintenance of programs, plans, policy, guidance, content, organizational content, while offering standardization and flexibility. During the course of today's webinars, we'll show you how current clients are using the system. And also the idea to always remember is that it's flexible and any type of content can be stored within the knowledge management system. So the knowledge management system, as we said, is an online tool. It is a secure web-based interface. It is a platform which its functions promote collaboration and sharing of content. The content that is maintained in the KMS can be accessed by anyone that the client so desires. Each client sets its own security profile and will approve anybody's access to the system. In addition, it can basically communicate both horizontally and vertically to other systems within an environment. We will show examples of this during the webinar. The KMS, or the Knowledge Management System, is accessed from any internet connection, and all actions are available to authorized users in real time. So again, it is a 24/7, 365-day-a-year system that wherever you have an internet connection, you can gain access to those systems or pages or content that you have the appropriate security access for. All content within the knowledge management system is under the control of the host agency. In other words, this is ISC's platform for the demonstration. So we will control who can see what content in this particular system. Each organization has the ability, again, to regulate who sees or who edits or how the information is shared in their individual platform. This includes identifying, again, those people who can view the content, and this can be internal to the agency as well as external stakeholders. So all it takes to onboard an individual into the KMS is an active email address. It can also allow individuals to edit the content, and the third level is to publish the content. This is the basic. These are the basic items that a authorized user has to view, to edit, and to publish. Again, it can be done at the chapter level, which is in the index up here, or at a subchapter level. The KMS has been successfully deployed and active within the private and public sector since 2008. And also, the environments vary by size and complexity. There are active environments that are a single platform. A single user or single agency has the platform. There are regional systems which incorporate some 32 platforms, and there are state systems which have over 300 active platforms actively integrated at the same time. When we refer to content management or the content within the knowledge management system, we're referring to any and all type of multimedia content. So we are referring to narrative information. We are referring to photographic information. We are referring to video that can be embedded in the system. And the index or the table of contents, as you see here, can be adjusted and amended very easily by the host agency. Again, it takes specific security protocol that is issued to individuals who can move chapters and subchapters within the index. Again, content management includes the ability to add a page, to edit a page, to move pages and their sections within the index, and also then to establish the security rights for those pages. As we talked about, Odysseus is the environment in which the KMS is a part of. And we've talked about the platforms. This is an example of a state platform. There is a state public health system, KMS, and also within the environment, there are 11 healthcare coalitions that have their own unique platform. There are some 200 hospital and EMS systems that have their own unique platform. 92 county health departments that have their own platform, and 7 of the local certified health departments within that state system have their platform. So compromising over 300 systems. In all of this, each system can basically communicate with one or all of the 300 systems within the environment. Again, the environment is based on who gives access to whom during any point in time. This has been successfully deployed and remains active since 2010, this particular system. In the Odysseus environment, we also offer customized solutions. And to quickly go over this, we will start with the KMS, or the knowledge management system. This serves as a content management system. This serves as the foundational element to the other customized approaches that we'll speak about next. Again, this is also what the focus of this webinar will be on from this point on. We also offer a grant management tool. The grant management tool was specifically designed to allow organizations, either at a local, a county, or a state level, to coordinate all of their grants, to have an understanding of, in real time, of where their grants are in ways of deliverables, in ways of unencumbered funds, but to organize and manage their grants during complex events like we're seeing now during COVID-19 and during specific or significant recovery operations. We also have the compliance performance metrics. The compliance performance metrics are, again, tied directly to some type of regulated or authoritative metric. In this case, specifically for the public health and medical sector, one of the key modules or systems that are within the compliance metrics is a multi-year training and exercise tool that is being used by a state. And it coordinates all of the training, all of the exercises that are performed by the healthcare coalitions, by the health departments, by the regions and the state entities within the public health and medical sectors, so that they can get an overall look of what they have done, what is proposed to do, and also then to store it where you can have recall going back now 5 of the budget years, because that's the existence of the program. Of specific to this particular audience, we also have the assessments in here, again, specifically related to the public health and medical sector. We have a public health system risk assessment that is consistent with the CDC capabilities of a jurisdictional risk assessment. We also have the FEP capability assessment in here, as well as the ASPR capability assessment, as well as a ASPR hazard vulnerability assessment. Again, the advantage here is, again, this is being used in multiple areas within a state or within a region. So all of the information, A, is standardized, so you can compare results and validate results, as well as you can share how you stand from an organizational level, from a regional level, and a state level, because all the assessments kick back into a on-demand reporting system that's available to users, again, with the appropriate security clearance. The last offering is computer-based training. The computer-based training is just that. It takes the KMS and allows it to integrate in curriculum or policy that is developed either by the client or can be customized through integrated solutions, and then provides that virtual network that allows users to go in as designed or desired by the organization to complete the training, and then send appropriate documentation and main appropriate documentation of the people who have completed the training. Again, these are customized solutions that we'll be speaking about individually in future webinar series. Again, it starts with the foundational base of the KMS, or the knowledge management system. Customer support and service level agreements, training. With every knowledge management system or customized module, there is a service level agreements that are done with the client to ensure that the system is active, the system is live and performing to the way it's intended to. It is 24/7 help assistance to a service level agreement, as well as we provide both on-site and virtual training throughout the course of the year on the various systems or on some of the customized solutions that we offer. It has been very common that what we have seen over the years is we have not seen a great deal of service level requests come in that are beyond a forgotten password, or someone has not understanding how maybe to access it through the URL interface. But again, there is 24/7 support that is available, and again, part of the agreement as we go in. Additionally, what ISC provides to everyone with a system is a user guide. The user guide, as you can see in the index here, is broken into a user guide, a developer guide, and an administrative guide. In the user guide, it basically will give you those things which are frequently asked of users who may have forgot how to do something, how to reset a password, what are the minimum system requirements of a system, how do I complete my profile information. In each of these cases, it is a narrative step-by-step walkthrough of how to access, with screenshots built in to help the user ensure that they can effectively operate the system. Again, if the user is unable to still have access or need some kind of further assistance, they can advance it through the help desk and receive that assistance direct from Integrated Solutions. In the developer guide, these are for individuals who have editing rights, and that's what we basically are talking about. We're talking about and giving examples of how to publish information in the system, how to cut and paste, how to format, how to insert hyperlinks so that you can either link back to information captured within the index or captured in external websites. But again, it's intended to provide the user with base information to ensure that they can adequately perform in the system. And then the last part is the administrative guide. This is really for establishing security, changing the header of the changing the header and the print systems along with ISC. We work with the client to ensure that we can give the user maximum flexibility to get the desired results that they want. But in every system, there is a user guide, and the user guide is there to ensure that users have adequate information to use the system. In addition, each of those sections have individual tutorials built. And again, as we've said before, the knowledge management system has the ability to capture multimedia type material in it. In this case, when you have staff who may turn over, or where you have new staff coming on board, it's their first time or very new to the system, these tutorials can be made available to them. These tutorials can be made available to them. And again, it allows a user to not only understand what they need to do, but they could also get some ideas of what the system is capable of doing. And again, as you work in the system longer and longer, I think you will see that the system has a lot of advantages for not only enhancing collaboration with stakeholders, but also has a lot of advantages to ensuring that the plans and the policies are maintained, are updated. It helps you with your training, and it can also support your exercise and after action, the full gamut of the preparedness cycle. The last thing, or one of the other things that Integrated Solutions maintains as part of the service level agreements and as far as training, is we make sure that the key authoritative guidance documents that are required for the client are maintained within the system, so they'll always be A, current, and B, that they are available so that there's quick reference back as you're developing plans, as you're developing policy, as you're developing exercises. There are the references that you need to ensure that you are consistent with. So in other words, the FEP capabilities, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, are maintained in here. Again, when there are updates, we update it, and we share that then to all the systems which are appropriate in that environment. So we do maintain a large component of information from the CDC, a large component of information from ASPR, a large component of information from the Centers for Medicaid Services, for the hospitals and the key 17 providers, as well as from FEMA for our emergency management partners, and things like HCEP and NIMS, etc., so that everything is at the fingertips and directly available to users who use the system. Again, one of the key features of a KMS is simply that what we can do is from a central location, we can update the FEP capabilities, for example, if there was an update in one location, and then we can say, send this to these 300 locations, and automatically that information then is in the appropriate systems. So it's updated in one place, and then all 300 people have availability for that particular update. So again, for the public health and medical sector, we've talked about an emergency preparedness program. This is not all inclusive. This is fairly basic. But again, what we're taking a look at are the key components of any public health or medical sector's preparedness program, right? Performing assessments, both the CDC FEP capabilities, the CMS metrics, as well as the ASPR metrics say that either there needs to be capability and or some type of risk assessments done. Again, we've talked about it before that we've customized the jurisdictional risk assessment, the capability assessment, the hazard vulnerability assessments. But again, step one is the assessment process. Step two, of course, is making sure plans are maintained. So it's not just developing the plans, but it's making sure that the plans are maintained over a period of time and that they're consistent with whatever the assessments come up with in each year. The next phase, of course, is staff development and training, and making sure that those response plans that have been updated or developed, and again, planning also includes policies, standing orders, standing operating procedures, whatever is germane to that organization is in the planning component. But the training then is to make sure that staff that have been assigned roles or who may be assigned roles during emergency events or in some other kind of capacity have access to these plans, protocols, policies, so that they can have an understanding prior to being part of that response component. So again, it could be anything from a review of the plans and policies to maybe some type of update with NIMS or some kind of command component that is in place. And the last, of course, is the exercise. Again, we validate our planning, and we create our after action reports and our improvement plans. We use the HCEP documents. Again, the HCEP documents are contained within the KMS to help you ensure that they meet the specific templates, but also it's the storage and the instantaneous retrieval of the AAR-IPs, of the exercise plans, that becomes helpful as you're building your new one, or if you're looking back to understand what are those core improvement areas that we need to focus on. Again, all of this is in a securely stored area with unlimited file storage, with unlimited users to the organization, as well as the ability for that historical retrieval of all of these documents. Specifically, as new people come in to the programs, sometimes they may not be aware, they may be somewhat new, not only to the existing assignment, but they may be new to the function of preparedness. You can go back and you could kind of have at your fingertips what the core after action reports, the improvement plans have been over the last year, over the last 2 years, what the capability assessments have been, etc., over that time. What I'm going to go into now is a little bit of what our current client base is using the system for. And again, we'll use this. We'll look at assessments, planning, training, and exercise, as well as some programs that are supported through the knowledge management system. So first with assessments, again, as we've talked about, we have numerous health departments conducting their jurisdictional risk assessments, their FEP capability assessments within the system, and also being able to show compliance or to show progress with their capabilities through material that is developed and maintained within the KMS index and infrastructure. The same thing for the healthcare coalitions. They're using it for their capability assessment and for their vulnerability assessment. As I'll try to show here, this is an example of how an organization will complete their, in this case, their public health risk assessment, whether it is the healthcare or whether it is the capability assessment. It follows the same logic and the same progression. You will go to your KMS platform and access it from here. And again, if you have the appropriate security, you will be able then to edit and to work within the system. What we've done is, again, based on this particular client's needs, is we've replicated it directly from the mandates within the FEP capability itself, within the ASPR capability itself. So over here, what we have is a list of hazards. The list of hazards will include natural, technological, and man-made. Every single hazard will have a scenario built into it, and that you'll be able to select on it and come up so that you understand what the scenario you're evaluating is. And again, when we say that, why it's important is because when the scores go in, we're all using the same scenario. This is where the standardization becomes very important. This is how we can use, the 92 health department scores to have some validation of where we are at a regional or state level, because we're all using the same scenarios, the same definitions, and the same guidelines as we conduct our assessments. So in this case, we're selecting the hazard and we're comparing it to human impact, the healthcare sector impact, access to healthcare, and the behavioral health impact. Again, all areas that are required through the FEP capability of a jurisdictional risk assessment. The other part here on this other side are the actual capabilities. So again, this one document is used or will capture the information of what your capability score is, as well as what your hazard score is. Again, as we progress through the screens, and it may be a little bit difficult to see, again, what we've built into this is the ability to go and look at the potential hazard impacts. As we all know, to every hazard, there are potential impacts. To a pandemic, it's going to be absenteeism, it's going to be the loss to the economy, etc. To an animal disease outbreak, there could be economic or business disruption, facility contamination, etc. Again, by selecting on each of these, it opens up a narrative that has been pre-built for each of these hazards. However, of specific note, on both the hazard and the hazard impact, these can be amended as the host or the overarching host of this environment is. So for instance, when we get to the pandemic this year, this environment can go add the lessons learned from the current COVID-19 directly into here. So when we score it the next time, when we score the jurisdictional risk assessment in the future, it has all of the lessons learned. It has the impacts that we saw in COVID-19 as part of the discussion. Again, while all of this is pre-populated to get started with, it has been approved by the host host agency or host environment, it can be amended at any time as needed. As we know, things don't stay stagnant, they change. And that is, again, a feature that allows you to continue to add elements in, but maintain the standardization, because when we add it into one, we add it into everything in the environment. Again, here, just like, what we've seen with the FEP capabilities, we get to the function level, and then what we're doing is we're scoring it to the probability, the human impact, the healthcare sector impact, healthcare access, behavioral health impact, etc. And again, each of the functional questions you give a score to, and select save, and then it automatically captures it within the system. Again, as we progress, there are a couple of other points here just to highlight of the system. It will tell you where you're at in each of the sections. So in here, we're in community preparedness. We see that we've answered 15 of the 20 questions. For function 1, we've answered 5 of 5. For function 2, we've answered 5 of 5, which means in function 3 or 4, we have questions remaining to answer, and you can always jump back to get that. In addition, when you score a particular area, you can then select how you want to document your answer. So if you say that you've gone from a not met to a met, and it's because you've developed a new plan that's required by the capability, it is very simple to either add a note or actually upload that plan into the system so that there is tangible evidence at the end of why you scored the way you did. Lastly, on this this particular one is also built where once you are done scoring, you can lock it, and you can lock it down by, in this case, this is the county health department review. So you can lock the system. The county is saying that they have they have completed their jurisdictional risk assessment or their capability assessment. They lock it down. The system automatically sends an email then to the appropriate state reviewers, and that they are noted that this particular county is completed their assessments, and then the state can go in and review it to see and make comment on it. Again, this is locked down at this time until the state makes its review. So again, you complete the assessment, the county has the ability to lock it down, submit it to the state for review. The state reviews it. When the state authorizes it, it electronically date and timestamps it as being authorized. And then that information is then downloaded into the on-demand reports and made available to anybody that has the appropriate security clearance. As we've talked about reports, there are 62 of these reports to look at individual hazards, to look at the differences between the capability, to look at capability again from different aspects, either by single capability or total capability. This is where the state stands in this particular year and this particular capability assessment. However, you could select up here through the drop-down boxes, and you could look at just, region 1 or region 2, or you could look at the entire state. You could look at all of the capabilities, or you could look at a very specific capability. We could hit the drop-down box and only look at emergency public information and warning. And then we could look at how our organization compared to the region, how our region compared to the state. And again, you could even get down to the function level. So again, a subset of the capability, you could take it down to, again, to see where you're at. It allows you basically to see who may be doing well, who may need help, who may you want to ask for assistance with, but also to understand the needs of the region, the needs of the state as it applies to your organization. Again, these reports are available 24/7 on demand as soon as the users have had their assessments approved by the state. Again, these are customized. So again, it could be something that you can use a form or a basis of this. You may have other things you want to collect, but in any case, these are the type of assessments that can be done within the knowledge management system. The second area we'll kind of get into is planning, and specifically the capability-based planning, which is required within the public health and medical sector. And we know it's being reviewed. It's our understanding that it will stay. We know that the MCM OOR has been expanded to include all capabilities now. So the idea of planning for the capabilities even take on a greater emphasis. But again, within planning, again, the key piece here is if you form a planning team, an internal planning team, or an internal external planning team, you can use the system, and as you're constructing and developing the plan, in this case, you can have instantaneous communication virtually, right? Because as I complete my work on the plan, I can save it. If I am a planning team member, I can go in and look what you've done. I can review it. I know where you're at with it. And again, it is not available to everybody until it is published. So again, there is a editing version or a version in editing, which only persons with that level of security can see. And then there is the one that is authorized or published. That is what everybody with security access can see on that page. So again, if I have security access that just says view, this is what I see because this is the most current authorized page for this particular section. However, I can hit the edit button, and that version is available only to those individuals with that capability. And that's where the work is being done. So again, a little bit more information. Again, I mentioned that the KMS is flexible to the organization's protocols. So this was a particular challenge posed to us. There were 200 hospitals that compromised the state EMS system. 62 of those hospitals were identified as resource hospitals, which meant that they were required for all of the standing orders, policies, plans, and trainings for the other EMS hospitals associated with them, okay? And that the way that the State EMS Act was written is that while the resource hospital was responsible and that medical director was responsible to basically draft and recommend all of these policies, standing orders, and plans, it was the State Department of Health that must authorize them. And once authorized, they can become enforced. So again, the solution that we came up with was the KMS system, the third-party authorization feature. Again, by definition, a resource hospital is a lead hospital for an EMS system and has the authority and responsibility for all EMS system program plans, including clinical aspects and operation. So again, that's what we were faced with. So again, what we had was basically, we have 200 hospitals that have the KMS. They're divided into their appropriate regions. So each region has numerous hospitals associated with them. There's 11 regions. Within each region, there are resource hospitals. Within the resource hospitals, there are associate and participating hospitals. The resource hospital, again, is the hospital that's responsible for those standing orders, for those plans, for those policies. So what we came up with was a way, and again, a way that has been in use now for some 18, 19 months, and it's working well, is for the resource hospital to develop the content within the ISC KMS system. They go in there just like anybody would to develop their own internal documentation. It either could be new plans, policy, standing orders, or it could be the amending of those plans and standing orders, because even the amendment requires the state authorization. The content is developed by personnel selected by the resource hospital. The comment feature is used in this case to allow internal communications between the resource hospital personnel as they're developing the plan. In other words, there is a system in here that allows for not only comments to go internally to individuals that are on that planning team, but they are maintained historically within the KMS system. The content is reviewed and approved by that medical director. And then all that medical director has to do when they're satisfied with it is to select submit for authorization. Then the system automatically emails a link to the state health department reviewers, and they are then accessed into the area, have access into the area to review the appropriate plan, policy, standing order. They can communicate through the comment feature back to the resource hospital for any type of clarification. They also have another pathway where they could, ask for help within the state reviewers, to ask questions, to get clarification prior to making a final decision. And then again, they have a way to do one of three things. They can either return the issue to the resource hospital for rewrite, the process starts over again. They can request some type of clarification and make a decision, or they can simply hit authorize. And when they hit authorize in real time, the information is updated. And when it's updated in the resource hospital's system, it automatically then is shared with these associate and participating hospitals at that time. So when the state virtually authorizes the document in the resource hospital, it is automatically updated in the region and all appropriate hospitals underneath its charge. In some cases, that may be 17 to 20. In some cases, that may be 5 to 7. In some cases, that could be hospitals in other states. It doesn't matter. It just means that in real time, they have the most current version available to them when the state reviewer selects the authorization. Again, the other thing to remember here is that within your planning section, you determine what goes there. You could have county plans, you could have state plans, you could have response plans, you could have your internal security plans, you could have policy, standing orders. Again, it's the choice of the organization itself. So again, within the system, you have your plans, and they can be maintained here and historically maintained with every single time that there is a new publishing date or authorization date, it stores a copy of that. So you always have the ability to go back and say, what was this plan in 2020? What was this policy in 2020? And you have instantaneous retrieval of it. So again, in planning, I think it's kind of self-evident what a content management system can do. In training, again, there's a feature here that I think is important. One of the things we talked about before is as we write these emergency response plans, as we write new policies, we have an obligation and we have a requirement to make sure that anybody who may have to actualize this has knowledge of it prior to the event, right? It's also very good practice to make sure that our staff are aware of what we expect of them, right? So in this case, if you were saying you need to review this new plan or this new policy, whatever it may be, a person can come in here on their own time or a time designated by the organization, and from anywhere with a website, access the information and review it. They could also send a comment back that documents that they have reviewed it, so there is validation of it. But more importantly, it also allows you to write plans in a way that assist individuals in the comprehension of the material. As we know, there are a lot of people that work within the preparedness fields, work with this information every day. They have a very deep and intense knowledge and can demonstrate, proficiency with the verbiage, with the actions as we go along. But a lot of our people who are involved in our emergency response actions that require this may be kind of foreign to them. They may have very limited exposure to it. So again, as a person's reading, this, and it talks about, in close coordination with ESF1 transportation, ESF10, hazmat, EFS6 mass care, they may not know what that is, right? If I deal with it every day, I know it, I just continue reading. But if I don't know what that is, I have the ability then to select on it, and it takes me up and it gives me the definition of what the ESF6 is, right? It can guide me to so that I can comprehend the entire plan better. I have a better understanding of it because it gives me a reference point to go back to. But again, what the system allows you to do is to link to an external website, like the CDC website or like an ASPR website. It also allows me to link right back into material in the index. So again, I can keep a single page updated of, let's say, phone numbers in the system, and then I could have 10 plans linking to that page. So when a person's phone number changes, let's say like a director or a medical director or somebody like that, we change it in one spot, and then in all 15 of our plans that reference that number, it's updated. Or again, like I said, just for general comprehension of the material itself. We also deploy as one of our customized modules a multi-year training and exercise module. It allows you to put in any training or exercise. It gives you the status of where it's at. It's either being in a draft form, when it's going to be conducted, what the title is, if you need state assets, etc. But again, what it does for you is historically maintains this information. So again, if I want to look at how many MCM exercises have I done in the last 3 years, I can do that because I could select on each year and I could look at what we did. I could look at what training is scheduled. When this is hooked into a regional or state platform, I also have the ability to see what else is going on in my region. And there is a checkbox here that allows for it to be open. In other words, I may find out that someone in my region is doing a certain kind of drill or certain kind of exercise. It's saying it's open, so I can basically go to it and maybe be an observer to some sort and have that ability to understand it. But more importantly than anything, it's a historical archive of all of our training and exercise experience. Again, on exercises, as I said, the authoritative guidelines, we maintain the 8-seat guidance in here, so it's easy to go back and make something or look something up to make sure it's appropriate. We build templates in here so that you can make sure that a new person has a good document to go back to. More importantly, it stores it. It is instantaneous retrieval for however long back that you maintain them in the system. Again, as in after action reports, same thing. Again, as we know, there are some new documentation coming out on how to do specifically pandemic after action report improvement plans. This guidance is in here. In this case, it's built out to specifically into a PDF. But again, it allows you to share it with people and again build it to what the expectations are of the authority. So at this time, I will end and I'll open it up for any questions in the chat box. I see one, but if anybody else has any, please feel free. I will try to go over them. The one question I see in here is the KMS used for anything other than emergency preparedness? The answer is yes. The answer is we have clients specifically in public health that have used it to support their environmental health division, some of their community health programming, to do some of their CHIPS. We also have programs that I've listed under here is we have the CDC operational readiness tool. Of course, that's more of a preparedness, but we built it out as we conduct OORs. We maintain it in here. We link our information, so when it comes time to have the sit down with the CDC, that all of our information is here. It's immediately available to us. It also is a way for the CDC to virtually get in and look at material and they have before. They've used the system to look at it. Joint Commission the same way, specifically, we've used it to support, Joint Commission accreditation. It's a great tool for compliance because you have the questions in front of you. You link to where you have the supportive documentation. It tells you where it's at, where it's not. Same with FAB and the whole, auditing of public health. Same thing, specifically the reaccreditation, where you maintain your quarterly updates. So again, when it comes to that 5-year cycle, you have all of your new information in front of you, so you don't have to go search for it again, right? You have it in front of you. It's there. If you maintain it on that quarterly basis or even that semi-annually basis, everything is front and center to you for that particular event. So again, that's the only questions I see. If there are no more, I would just like to thank everybody for attending today's session. And then also to again remind you that we will be holding these bi-weekly and look for the next one. I appreciate your time. And again, if we could ever be of help, please feel free to contact us. Thank you very much.